How do you feel now at 41, still 280 pounds, looking like a Greek god over here? It's a great point. I just like the idea that it's, and I say this many times over, is potential or genetics you don't really know until later on after your career kind of thing. And you were genetically gifted. And so, again, for you viewers out there, if you say, oh, well, it worked for Drew, listen to the full story that he's giving you. Yes, it did get him there, but it didn't get him there maybe in just that perfect way that he would like to have gotten there. That just for you youngsters, and I know that it's tough when you're, that high school and college to get the meals and get the food in, but try to prep as much as you can.
Yeah, I would say that too. Or even if you don't prep, figure out last minute situations. I feel like a lot of times people, when they cheat on their diet, it's kind of a last minute situation. They don't have any food and they try to figure out what they could do last minute. So figure out last minute situations, whether it's a gas station, whether it's a grocery store. If you don't have your meals, what are you going to do? Are you going to get a rotisserie chicken, skin it down and eat it? Are you going to get some liquid egg whites and drink those with some oatmeal? Because you don't need a stove for that. You can cook it in the microwave. So figure out ways to, make up. If the Tupperware falls and breaks, what are you going to do? You got to figure something out. Rather than go to McDonald's, have a backup so you can go into a grocery store and get what you need. And don't just get, if your body's not used to broccoli, don't have it because it looks good on paper, because it'll jack you up. I know if I eat broccoli, it just tears me up. So,
well, let's jump into that now, because we've kind of discovered, and we're going to talk a lot more than just today, but we discovered how you put on a lot of that size when you first started the journey of health and fitness. And again, we go back to the point of you got it by doing a kind of, I guess the new age kids call it dirty bulking. And then you checked your blood work. Am I correct on that? You met the Titan medical team and you checked your blood work?
Yeah, I never got blood work done before, even all those years when I was putting on so much size and out of breath. I never got my blood work checked. So when I went to Titan, I got my blood work checks and my test level was like 400. I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was like 4 times higher than what it should. I didn't know. And then they were like, no, that's about half, or, you should be at 850, 900. So I didn't know. So that was like the first thing, like, wait a minute, and at the time, I believe I was, close to 300 pounds with abs and stuff.
How old were you at this time?
This is 5 years ago. It's been about 4 or 5 years ago.
So mid-30s.
Yeah. So when I first went, my test level was less than half what it should be. So I'm like,
wait, just for you guys at home, you imagine this guy walking in there, 300 pounds with abs, 6'3", and his T level is half of what a regular person would be.
Yeah, it was exactly 408. I remember, I still have it. It was 408. I didn't know what that meant. So, I know everything about all that stuff now, but at the time I didn't know. So I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, if I'm, benching 500 twice a week, 300 with abs, just like what you say, and my test is only half what it should be, how am I going to feel if it gets normal? So once I started with HRT and, got my levels up to 850, 900 where they should be, I just started feeling better. I had more energy. I don't know. My weight went down, but then again, I cleaned up my diet. So I literally went from one extreme I went from whatever it takes, get as big as you possibly can, to getting your blood work regulated, checking everything, and going from, one extreme to the other. So now it's just like it's a lifestyle. I couldn't see myself going back to eating McDonald's and all that stuff. I couldn't do it. Like, I'd probably throw up if I had, 4 or 5 Big Macs like I used to, like every day post-workout.
So your digestion when you were younger, I think I've studied enough to realize that everybody's digestion gets a little worse as we get older and older, but you're still a young pup. But you did or didn't notice those meals played havoc on you, or they didn't when you were younger and it started to get to there? I'm just trying to find out what was the transition from going, because I don't think you need to go, you're 300 pounds, you're strong, you look great. That most likely means that the inside should be pretty good. Yeah. Even though you're relatively eating a dirty bulk type of diet. What got you in the door? What made you go, let me go check this? especially at 35 years old. It's that's still very, very young.
I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have ever checked it if I didn't get with Titan. But once I made a decision to go to Titan, it was kind of like part of the process. I probably wouldn't have got it checked. I probably would still be saying, yeah, I have fast metabolism. I can eat McDonald's and still be feeling crap. So it was kind of like, I mean, you go with Titan, that's the first step. So it's kind of like the first thing I did. But now realizing that I just want to feel good. Like, I don't want to just look like a freak. I want to feel good all the time. So the difference then to now is, then I was like, I don't care if I feel like crap and I have heartburn and a headache all day, as long as I'm the biggest dude no matter where I go and the strongest. So now it's like, I want to feel good, as long as the scale doesn't necessarily have to say 300. As long as I feel good and I look good, my waist is tight, my neck's thinner than it used to be, less water retention, the tissue's still there, I'm not losing tissue. So that's my main concern now, was just feeling good. Like, you don't realize that you feel great until you feel great. So that was like the main thing with me. It's like, I thought I was great back then, but now it's like, whoa. I mean,
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I see that people, all the legends I've ever talked to, after they kind of moved away from the trophy chasing to life, in a sense, they didn't realize the uncomfortableness on putting on a shoe, the most simple thing in the world. But for a lot of people, they don't realize that uncomfortable, and that's a metaphor for their whole body, but to get to where you are now, how do you feel now at 41, still 280 pounds, looking like a Greek god over here? And I mean,
I could be higher than 280, but I don't like to step on the scale. I literally have broken scales over the years, and with the things, so I have a scale in my spare bedroom. It stays in there. I never really go in there. Yeah.
Well, you're walking around like a Greek god, so I'm appreciative to it. How do you feel though and how often do you check your numbers now when it comes to your blood work?
3 to 6 months. I actually just got my bloods back 2 days ago. I got my blood drawn last week. It's good to go every 3 to 6 months. If you can go even quicker than that, if you have to. A lot of times people say, every 3 months or every 6 months. If you feel off, go get it checked. I mean, it's worth it. It's only like with my discount or your whatever, and it's cheap. It's like, $130, $150 to know what's going on with your body. People spend that going out drinking on a night. People spend that going out to get a nice dinner and stuff, and they have nothing to show for it the next day. Why not get it done, know where you're at? Because for me, before I ever got my blood work done, I relied on Dr. Google. Everything was Dr. Google. I would literally just Google everything. I had no medical care provider. I had no doctor. I had no physician I was going to see. My whole life, I've pretty much been on my own, so I just deal with stuff on my own. So if I have a toothache, headache, hurt back, I kind of just Google symptoms and deal with it. But the problem with that is if I have a headache and I'm Googling and it says I have high blood pressure, now I'm taking high blood pressure medicine and it might not even be my blood pressure. So I was misdiagnosing for all those years. Now, not just getting my blood work out and getting my levels right, knowing that I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have these issues. Where a lot of men, how men, we don't go to the doctor for anything, A woman gets a hangnail, she's in the emergency room. Us, we could have a back pain or a headache for a month, and we're just like, yeah, my head's hurting me again. So I think a lot of men need to get checked more to take the worry out, because a lot of time the worry is causing more problem than the actual thing because they're stressing all the time.